For every 10 skill points in a Knowledge Arcana, you get 2 skill points cross-skill in Knowledge Corkscrew.
So, I'm going to give you 3 options.
All right.
We'll call these options the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I won't tell you which is which.
Okay.
Option 1 is a Mercy Killer jailer, someone whose job in Sigil is to keep prisoners in line. Option number 2 would be a Mercy Killer liaison with people back on the plane of Acheron. This would probably be a former Justicar, and it is very likely to be somebody who is close to Factal Nilesia. And option 3 is somebody, it's a Bugbear war chief, who is a member of the Mercy Killers, essentially in name only, just to get muscle support for waging her wars on Acheron against her enemies. But these are 3 people you turn up that supposedly command magic spells gained for their reverence for this mythical battle tank. I think I've pointed out, too, that this is from a Planescape module, The Relentless. That's where this comes from. This is a real thing that exists in the canon.
That's rad.
The Bugbear is the most...
Yes.
It's the most correct.
Yeah.
I like it
Which
a
is
lot.
also probably...
No, you couldn't.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd forgotten what game we've been playing. You don't think the Bugbear, you have forgotten the face of your father.
Okay. So, to speak with this Bugbear, you can either travel out to Acheron yourself and approach her war camp, or you can, and this would take a little bit of resources on your part, and maybe a little bit of deception, but put together some contrivance to get her to travel to Sigil and meet with you.
I don't like the idea of going to her home turf.
I think we can take a Bugbear.
Yeah. I mean, well, let me ask this. Is anyone willing to come with me? Because that'll affect...
Oh,
what I do.
absolutely.
Yeah, Nath will go.
Okay.
I would go, but I'm on this mission too.
You're right.
As you
Well-
see already.
It's going to take some time for the Relentless to be where you want it to be. So I'm just going to assume that you guys can all go to the
okay.
Githzerai Sea and get the bones, then all go out. Like, there's not going to be any overlap here. I don't want to
Okay.
screw
Cool.
anybody
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go meet her then on her terms.
All right, look what this might be one of my, I know I say this every time, I do, but this might be one of my favorite planner maps.
Oh, I was about to say, is it the circle again?
Planner maps.
It's just, it's a fun
Plane
one.
of ennui. Just a giant circle.
So this is the map of Acheron. I especially like down in the
Tower.
corner here, we just have some like skateboard punks for some reason. Like there they are. Like a dude with ripped jeans, combat boots.
Like what? Where? What now?
Good old lads.
What? Is this official?
This is official. This
Oh
is
my
right
god!
from the books.
Wow.
So
Oh my god! That's
Dude, think
incredible.
about the sick jumps you could get off one of those cubes, though.
Would
No,
you be
I like
cleaning
it.
the cube?
Yes.
This isn't a D20 though, but I mean, because it's got like 6 to a side instead of 5 to a side. It's like it's some kind of non-Euclidean horror.
Clangor is my favorite cube name.
I do like the
Clangor.
Clangor.
Acheron is an endless expanse of space filled with metal, mostly cubes on the upper layers. You go down to the 3rd layer, you start getting into more abstract geometric shapes. And then when you go all the way down to the 4th layer of Ocanthus, are Bladelings a playable race in 4th edition? I feel like they are.
In 4th, they definitely are, yeah.
Yeah. But Ocanthus is where the Bladelings come from, because here there's no longer shapes. There's just bits of shrapnel floating around, and this is where the Bladelings have built their city. A Bladeling is exactly what you're thinking it is. It is a person literally made out of blades. And then at the very bottom of Acheron, where these skateboard punks are hanging out, like there's like a can of Coke here that one of them is crushed. Like they're just littering Acheron at this point. It's actually a physical horizon in all directions from which these little chips, these impossibly sharp objects, break off from. And if these guys were actually down here on this horizon, they would be shredded pretty much instantly.
Well, I mean,
We're in
shredding
agreement
is what
that
they're
these guys
about.
are anarchists, right?
Yeah.
So as you can see, not only do they have battlefields and cities and things built on top of these cubes, but there's also considerable underground areas inside of the cubes where people mine into them and build cities. Lots of Dwergar on Acheron, which are evil dwarves. I don't know if there are evil gnomes in general, but
Zook.
there's also I don't know, what level is teleport in this edition?
7th.
Is it 7th? There's a much lower level version of teleport that its only function is to get you from a cube you're on to a cube you can see.
Sounds reasonable.
Is that so that you can jump off of the shitty cube you're on when it's about to smash into another one?
Yes, actually. There is a science to controlling the direction of these cubes that is closely guarded by powerful war chiefs, and that is a viable military strategy. Wait until your opponent has massed his troops, and then crash your shit into his shit. There's also a version of, this is true, I think it's in the Planewalker's Handbook, actually. There's a version of the Earthquake spell called Cubequake that does exactly what you expect, just at a slightly lower level. And here's Father Mondo's Soup Kitchen is here, next to the
Iron
Yep.
Fist
the Iron Fist on this on the Nich
on the
cube.
battle cube.
Yeah, you've been giving him way too much platinum. He's been expanding.
I know, right?
I love that it's on the battle cube. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but it is.
I really do love the fact that every time we go into his soup kitchen, he's just kind of like ladling soup to like 20 dudes. And we've meanwhile given him enough to start several small-sized nations.
Mondo
Why-
is
Why is there one cube called the Battle Cube?
That's what I'm laughing at.
That's
what is
it.
the-
It's
what
the
is this?
battle cube.
What is this we we're talking
All the
about?
other ones are just all the other ones are just pretending.
What charity have you done lately?
I started up a group that's designed to save one of the factals of Sickle.
That sounds more like a business.
How many
thing
factals have
than
you
a
saved,
charity.
bitch?
So what is
Hey,
the approach?
are we talking about factals we've saved recently?
Yeah.
Um,
No, choking on his own vomit doesn't count, Riot.
What is the approach for coming into this Bugbear War Chief?
We have an approach.
Yeah, Kelian is. I was about to say something, and then I remembered. No, Kelian's an Aasimar. That's a terrible idea.
What was your idea?
Looking
Yeah, I
to
want to hear the
convert.
idea.
Looking to convert, and he heard about
Oh, yeah.
this specific relentless thing.
Liberation has a face that the Relentless could love.
All right. I mean, how are you comfortable with lying and deception and deceiving?
Are we?
Hey,
Are
if you
we
want
sure
those
that
three
would be
things,
okay, though?
Riot's super good at it.
They might find that offensive because you're like a parody of a tiefling.
Yeah, you're not a real tiefling.
Liberation says, "Fine, I didn't want to go on your stupid field trip anyway." Storms off. No, he doesn't.
So what is the plan for approaching this war chief? You mean you rolled a 26. You know exactly where her band's going to be. We'll say that you know a portal that can get you relatively nearby, or Nath can plane shift you there.
We ought to bring her a gift. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just polite.
Okay, what did you have in mind?
The blood of her enemies.
I don't know about that.
A
What do we
weapon
got that's good? What have we
Is
picked
that
up
like a
recently
second
we
date sort
we
of
could
thing?
part with?
Nothing. You keep giving it to the Temple of Bahamut.
Yeah.
I got the bracelet of speak with.
Oh,
Mom.
you know what I've still got? This like
Please.
powerful deadly scroll from Erendu. that I don't know what it is, but it's some dark magic.
Oh, well, let's make sure that we should figure out what's on the scroll first before we give it to
Yeah.
some
Agreed.
bugbear
Yeah,
warlord.
hey, Nath, you want
It's
to take a look
Acheron.
at
How much worse could it get?
this scroll I've been carrying on for a
I'll
while?
take the scroll, and is it arcane? Can I read it?
I mean, I was...
I'm
I
asking
think
the
that
DM.
she gave it to me because it was arcane.
This was given to you by one of the
Aaron
Swarne?
did. Yeah. She was the one who had this like secret plan to destroy everybody with this powerful spell that she didn't know what it even was.
All right, let me
Gonna
open up
open
my
it up,
notes
it's gonna
from
be
8
like-
months ago.
I don't remember
Food
that,
and water.
but having actually gone through having a wedding recently, I think that's pretty reasonable. Because you're obviously not going to remember anything else that's going on at the same time.
Only the actual groom and bride would consider that time scale to still be recently. It's August. That was a long time ago by any other
It was
measure.
this year.
I barely
Okay.
remember the time in between.
Nath,
Mm-hmm.
make an intelligence arcana check.
Sure. It's 15.
A 15. You discover what I don't think at the time any players discovered it during the adventure.
No, I only have it listed on my sheet as unknown scroll from Aaron.
Nath, you're pretty sure if this scroll had been used, and you weren't personally there for the whole Swanmay adventure. That was back when Serenity was alive still. But
Old
you're
Serenity.
pretty sure that if this scroll had been put into place, just hearing secondhand what you know of the Swanmay versus those druids, there's at least an 80% chance that Erendu was a traitor. That she was working with those evil druids. Because the magics contained in this scroll would have not done anything good for the Swanmay. It's essentially designed to be extremely destructive to nature. Cause plants to wilt, waters to spoil, winds to die down. You're not sure what kind of function it'll have in a place like Acheron.
So this is the Final Fantasy 1 scroll.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is it actually a spell, or is it just like a special scroll that can create this effect?
It's not a particular spell that you're familiar with, no.
Okay.
But it
yeah.
seemed like the sort of thing that this war chief might like.
Do I think it would work on Acheron? I'd probably have to research that.
That's not super important to my purposes. We got some powerful magic we're willing to trade for an audience. That's as far as that they need to know.
I mean, I think... Do you know if this person does business on any of the primes or anything?
No idea.
You mean the war chief?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very, very unlikely.
Sure. Seems fine.
Great.
Worst case scenario, it destroys some number of cubes.
It's
there's-
Acheron. It's, yeah.
I've been talking around. I'm pretty sure there's infinite cubes.
Right.
What's
So no harm done.
what's Riot? What's anyone's reaction? Because to the idea that Erendu's probably a traitor.
We left because we decided we didn't actually care about any of that.
I think no. Riot still cares because like those people will worship Aasimar now. I believe. I think Riot's gonna send a sending back. Like, hey, you guys might want to check on Erendu. We learned some things about her. Not sure
Too bad
she's
they're
on
all
your
dead.
side.
And the sending's not returned because Erendu overthrew that shit 6 months ago.
Well, oopsie doodle.
Wait, is that
Da-da-da-da-da.
Is that true?
No, actually, what the
Okay.
subplot was there was 3 different Swanmay, and you could pick one to go like which course of action. Erendu's would have complicated things because she was the one who had been captured by the druids for some time,
Yeah.
and they actually turned her
Okay.
and then planted her back in the coven.
And then Riot took her scroll and was like, "Yeah, I'll look into this," and then never did.
And the reason she gave it to Riot is because at the time, Riot was the only person in the group who could use arcane magic. And she was hoping you would use it, and that would turn the tide and allow the druids to invade.
Yeah. So Riot sends a sending. It's like, I think Erendu's up to some nasty shit. You guys better check on her.
Okay.
think Erendue might be a filthy crime boy.
Gravity, once you leave a cube, is there any local gravity, or is it just down towards the closest cube?
Towards
at
the
all
closest
times?
cube.
Okay.
Towards the most massive cube in the area.
Oh,
So
okay.
gravity pretty much works the same as it does in our space, just on a much smaller scale.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Do you want to? If you know a portal, that'll save us some resources.
Oh,
Sure
Kelian
do.
will have uncovered one. Okay. Kelian
Yes, sir.
and Riot, I guess, because Riot's going to present this gift. The battalion you're looking for is called the Wild Axe. And it's a breakaway group from a much larger goblinoid army that recently suffered a heavy loss on the battlefield. Their hobgoblin leaders were all put to the sword, the rest of the contingent scattered, and these bugbears bound together to form their own little army, kind of rallying around this particular war chief's banner because she has powerful magic. And her name is Avgi Chin Axe.
Avgi X.
And the faction is called the Wild Axe,
Yeah, she's styling her army the Wild Axe.
and her name is
Avgi Chinax.
Avgi Chin Axe of
That's right.
of fact. Okay,
Oh,
of the Wild Axe.
So she is ostensibly a member of the Mercy Killers, but the reason she is more for the alliance with their military strength on Acheron, as opposed to somebody who actually believes the Mercy Killer ideology.
She's a namer.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. So the plan we're going with is Riot is going to want to pretend to be a convert.
Sorry, what? No.
No. So do we want
That's,
liberation?
that's the first I'm hearing this plan. What?
Well, I mean, you guys all said I was a fake tiefling, so I don't see why. I mean, come on now. I'm still hurt about that, by the way.
I thought you didn't want to be a tiefling.
I am who I am. I am this, and this is what I am. So that's what I'm going to deal with.
I think the plan should just be to say that we're interested and curious in your religion, and we would like to speak about your god, the Relentless.
All right.
Nath, what kinds, if any, of protections do you put in place to make sure the party isn't waylaid by like hundreds of goblins or some such?
Oh, we can kill hundreds of goblins.
I mean, feel like that's more Riot's division usually. Do you have any decent disguises
Wait,
or
I'm sorry.
visibility?
You think that paranoically protecting us from crazy situations is Riot's thing?
They're goblins. They're not illithids. They're not anything you actually have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless
do we
they're
want
illithid thralls. Wait a second. You might be onto something.
do we want to go in disguise? We could do that.
Sure.
Okay.
How do you
bunch
disguise
of bug-
yourself?
Bunch of bugbears, I guess, right?
Well, bugbears are like bigger and beefier than like hobgoblins, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
and
but
to
they're
like
still-
really fool them, I'll
Just the medium
shapeshift myself
creatures.
into a different bugbear
What?
underneath.
Uh-huh.
So if they discover and they remove all of the illusions, they'll
Okay.
think that we're a different bugbear group.
Okay, Riot's just not gonna disguise you then as part of the seeming.
That ruins the plan, right?
Just for
No.
any viewers that don't know what a bugbear looks like, I'm getting a nice image for you.
What? I mean, but what good would that? What good would that do us?
Keep your enemies confused. And Mahogany taps the side of his nose.
I mean, how
They're
close
not
is
our enemies yet.
how close to this encampment are we going to portal in?
You can get, if you're taking a portal, you can get there pretty close, within a day's travel.
We probably shouldn't just appear on top of them. That would be rude.
Yeah. And more to the point, it would startle them and maybe causes them to attack.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I have a whole book with a whole chapter about bugbear armies.
About startled bugbears.
Will seeming for the 5 of us is bugbears.
Okay.
And Mahogany can do whatever he wants.
Does Terrence want in on this?
No, Terrence is not going to run errands with you. He's delighted to know that you found a path of inquiry, and again, he's willing to put forth some resources if you think you need something from him to make this successful.
Yeah.
Coin couldn't hurt.
Hey, guy, we're meeting someone who claims to have a connection with a power. Oh, that's neat. All right, fine. See how it is.
Sorry, I gotta step away real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, no, coin. No, going back to that, coin might not go amiss. I mean, the gift plus coin would probably make them very happy.
So again,
We're not giving.
Terrence is willing to front up to 10,000 gold for this venture, of which you can use a portion to get close to Avgi Chinax.
Kelian says nothing, but just makes faces at Liberation. Yeah, I'll leave that call to Liberation.
Liberation looks to Kelian and says, "What? Speak your mind, Kelian. Don't just get all grumpy at me."
We're already giving them a quote gift. We don't need to give them gold on top of it.
Fine, if you think that's what you think, then I'm certainly willing to defer to your judgment on that.
Okay.
The second that we leave, Mahogany just bursts out laughing and says, Kelian, you just convinced Liberation not to get him to give us 10,000 gold.
That's not what I did. That is not what I did. If Liberation was actually going to go get the gold, I was going to convince him to give it to me, and I was just going to pocket it.
Oh, he was going to do that, but you convinced him not to.
Hence why I was making faces.
Kelian, you and I, we're gonna have to play poker sometime.
The physical plane of Acheron. So you're taking a portal there, the day's journey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me...
I don't want to be too tired when we arrive.
I had to roll my big die
God
for that.
forbid Riot do an honest day's work.
The physical plane of Acheron is kind of unsettling when you first arrive. You can feel that the gravity here is weird. It's still pulling you down to the ground. It's like you have a flat horizon, but something in your mind gives you a sense that, like here on Earth, we know kind of intellectually that the Earth is round and that down pulls towards the center. But we don't really have a sense for, oh, that means that there's someone in the Earth walking sideways relative to me right now. That's very strange. We've evolved without that sense. On Acheron, you are acutely aware of that. Right now, there are people upside down relative to you somewhere on this cube. And it's kind of blowing your mind, man.
I never actually thought about that as far as Earth goes.
No? Really? Never? Dude, when I was a kid, it used to keep me awake nights. Dude, I used to lay there like, they can't literally be upside down. That's stupid.
No, see, I knew about that, but it never really occurred to me that there are people walking sideways on the Earth. That's what's kind of blowing my mind right now.
It's weird to think about, right?
Yeah, it is.
And when you think about the population distribution of Earth, there are more sideways people than there are right side up people.
No,
Most of the people are in China and India.
Welcome to every
Nodal,
conversation
are you
Wow.
okay?
we have while high.
that's how it works.
You need to sit down.
This went places. Wow! I was looking at my character sheet and reading, and just all of a sudden, like sideways people and shit. What?
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure my spells prep were correct.
Good crazy!
I've been digging through notes trying to find an NPC name, and
So what you are first aware of when you reach Acheron is you are acutely aware of all the sideways people.
No, I'm gonna be very clear here. Mahogany isn't thinking of that shit at all. Not even a little.
Man, all the preposterous shit that Mahogany brings up. Oh my god.
There was a back in the day in Planescape's heyday during the Web 1.0 years, there was a parody website for Planescape that had a bunch of parody factions on it. One of which was the Down Guard.
Oh, I remember you telling us about this.
The Down Guard tried to enforce universal gravity across the planes because it's preposterous to think that gravity doesn't always work the same way. And their plan or drawback was once they figure out which way is down, every other way cannot be down. So the Down Guard don't particularly care to go to Bitopia.
Yes, that was the first thing I thought of.
Well, half of it's fine.
The sky in Acheron, there's no sun, there's no moon. The light is just a weird ambience in the space itself gives off a form of light. So nothing really casts a shadow here. And you're also aware of not really sound, but the feel of bass in your chest. As far off cubes are colliding and breaking away and sending reverberations all through the plane. It's a lot more quiet than you were expecting, but the place where you step out is very clearly a battlefield. Relatively recently, between some massive tribe of orcs or another. And who's taking point on this excursion across this cube?
I guess I am. This was my cockamamie idea.
Okay. Are we doing any scouting, or are the five of you sticking together?
I would prefer... Because we're not that far from the camp, right? I would prefer it if we stick together.
Okay.
But...
I mean, you think Mahogany could turn into some kind of flying creature and observe, keep an eye out for any threats that might be approaching?
I mean, it's all just flat, right? We'll see him.
It's relatively flat, but it's not smooth, polished, universally flat. The landscape still has features. There are still mountains and ravines.
It's like Arizona.
I always assumed that it was kind of like Mechanos, where they were all gears, but some gears had stuff on them.
Whereas the gears of Mechanos are made out of all different kinds of material, most of the cubes of Acheron are literally iron. The one you're on certainly is. So there's not a level of topsoil or anything, but it's rugged terrain. I mean, thousands of battles have transpired here over the years with mechanical and magical devices going off. So all of the cubes have deep scars.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Mahogany, you think you want to keep an eye out for threats?
Oh, I don't have any eyes as an arrow elemental, but I'll look out for people.
Thank you.
So you're going to wild shape and do scouting around?
Yeah, I figure if the cubes slam together, I'm made of air. That's fine.
I'm assuming in 5th edition there's probably an Acheron version of Druidcraft that would tell you what the movements of the cubes are doing these days. All right, Mahogany, make a perception check, please.
Oh, I'd love to. I'm gonna use this die. My favorite. 10.
A 10.
Yeah. Don't worry about what I rolled, but it was a 10. That's good enough for goblins, right?
The direction that Kelian is marching you in, it looks like it's going to cause you to cross paths with outriders from the Wild Axe before you reach their war camp proper. It looks like small groups of them, scouts and scavengers, have been sent out to secure their perimeter, to kind of pick over this battlefield and find useful debris that they can bring back.
And I'll send a message to Kelian, which is convenient because that means I don't have to go back and let him know what's up.
Yes, I assume my bracelet speak with Mahogany is vibrating. So,
I mean, it's kind of always vibrating because your arm is shaking because you're worried that something's going to come out of it.
They're well, if we meet them, then we meet them, right?
Sure, and it's not bad. It's not bad that we meet them because then we can just say, "Hey, we want to meet with your chief. We have a good."
And if they're hostile, I guess we can defuse the situation. But
Sure, or we could kill them. I mean, either way.
Yeah. It
We
would
don't
be
really
better if we went into
I mean,
their-
that's the ultimate situation disfusal.
I mean, if we can get to them peacefully, what we could do, it'd probably be a lot better with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll
with
try
their-
that, but you know that rarely works. So
I have multiple spells that will non-hostily detain them.
Kelian is very proud of himself and the effect that he's having on this party. Like, all right, if y'all want to murder them, that's fine with me.
I'm not talking about murder. I'm talking about peacefully diffusing the situation.
Yeah,
So-
Nath's going to cast a spell. He's just going to enslave them.
The
Anyway.
four of you, who look like bugbears at the moment,
yeah,
you kind of have a choice. Do you want to come up upon these outriders? Do you want to wait for them to come upon you, or do you want to try to avoid them?
let's just come up upon them because we're headed in that direction, and we don't care if they find us.
Does anyone have a white flag?
No.
No.
Wait, it's incredibly offensive to bugbears.
90% chance that the answer to this question is negative, given this party's history, but are any of you carrying food?
Yeah. I've got 13 days worth of trails rations. It's most of my encumbrance.
Liberation just hasn't been hungry lately.
So, follow-up question, why?
I mean, have you seen the food?
Point of order, nobody's seen Foot in a while because Riot replaced that spell.
That's true.
Oh, I was working under the assumption we had FUD.
No,
No.
we get mansions now.
No,
Right.
we have
Okay.
Goodberry. No one needs to eat that nasty horse shit.
Riot is so tired of Goodberry, though. We've had Goodberry for so long. I want to eat real food, and she does every night in her
We've got a wizard now. Nath
in her amazing mansion. She eats real food.
can make it taste like anything.
It is truly amazing we get anything done as a party. I just want to say that.
Let's get... You guys are not making any attempt to be stealthy, then. You're not trying to sneak up
No,
on these guys and
we're not.
ambush them.
Nah.
But it's your intention to approach them, like, with some gravitas. Like, you want to come up on them so they know you're there,
Right.
so they can receive you. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Riot, I think I'm going to make you do this because it's your spell fueling the seeming.
Mm-hmm.
Make a strength intimidation check. You
Oh,
can make
okay.
this check. I'm going to let you make this check. What is your strength score?
13.
13. What does seeming make it look like your strength score is?
Probably at least 15.
Okay, go ahead and make it, because yeah, I got the bugbear stack block here. It's 15. Go ahead and make it as though your
I just-
strength was 15.
I just
That's
pulled the number out of midair.
That's incredible.
Yeah, there's CR
that's-
1.
That's deception intelligence, or what is this?
Strength intimidation.
Strength. Okay, intimidation. Gotcha.
They're bugbears.
So. Okay. I had to figure out my plus for a second. 24.
24. And Mahogany, you're still maintaining your position in the air for the time being?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll be stealthing. But I mean, it's very easy for me to be stealthy. I'm just air.
Actually, because there is not really air on Acheron, I mean, you can definitely be in the air.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to be invisible in the sense you're probably thinking.
So what is there on Acheron?
It's kind of like Mechanos. There's just this void of...
So it is just void, though.
But it's not vacuum. It's just this
Right.
kind of non-committal, breathable space, kind of. It's
Okay.
not elemental air in that sense.
So I'm relying on being relatively wispy, but also pretty far away, is what you're saying, rather than, in general, being pretty hard to see.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you still don't have any color, or you're not giving off any light, and you can't cast a shadow,
Right.
so... I don't think air elementals are invisible anyway, now that I'm thinking about it.
No, they're not invisible. No.
Riot, are you taking point in your band of 4 just renegade bugbears marching across Acheron?
Yeah, because now that I know that we are coming upon them, Riot does want to handle negotiations with anybody that she possibly can.
And does Seeming grant you any sort of weapon?
It can, I think. Yeah, disguises physical appearances with clothing, armor, weapons, and equipment.
So what?
So like the fork that I'm carrying looks like a big old what's those like a double kind of like a fork. I guess it's just a fork, like a big old two-pronged trident.
Okay. A partisan.
Yeah, that's the
fancy
thing.
word.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to think of.
You come up upon this group of bugbears, probably a dozen or so, picking over this area of the battlefield. When they notice that you're approaching, they group up.
Mhm.
In kind of a defensive stance. They realize that as you get closer to them, you realize that several of them, they're still wearing pretty recent battle scars that haven't completely healed yet. You see their weapons are pretty battered.
Riot right now realizes a flaw in her plan.
Give them the traditional bugbear greeting. We can take you.
Nobody in this group speaks Goblin, do they?
There it is. That was the flaw.
Liberation, you understand Goblin and
Absolutely.
can communicate with them, but you don't actually speak Goblin.
It's true.
And one of the bugbear calls out to you in Goblin, so the rest of you don't understand. So he only sees 4 of you, and he doesn't realize Mahogany is swirling about above with his 3d6 bludgeoning damage on demand.
Yeah, and Mahogany is at this point laughing because he heard them call out in Goblin. He's like, oh, fuck.
Liberation. He calls out a demand, and there is considerable weight behind this demand because they outnumber you. They've got more weapons. They don't realize you all are just incredibly high-level characters slumming it in bugbear suits today. He insists that you lay down your arms and your food and that your deaths will be swift. That's his offer.
Whatever.
Liberation translates.
And when he
Right.
sees that any kind of translation is necessary, you see glances get exchanged amongst their little group.
Riot calls back in common, I guess. None of that is necessary. We're here to meet with your war chief. We would exchange words.
And the response again...
Lead us, and Riot demands lead us to her.
So you're making a counter demand? Lead us to her?
Yeah.
The same one, and he's carrying a great club, the most muscular of them. Takes a few menacing steps forward, and he calls out again. Why do you not speak the words of Rugek?
Riot explains to him that they are from another plane, where your speech is not quite familiar to us, or your speech is strange to us. So we have learned a different type of speech that everyone in our travels has understood. We speak that to you now, and hopefully you understand this.
And you said that in common?
Mm-hmm.
Nath.
Mm-hmm.
Several of these bugbears in this group seem to be eyeing you very, very intently. As they're
How many of them are
exchanging
there?
words. There's 12 in all.
Okay.
One of them at the head of the group is carrying the great club and is sufficiently, and he's much more muscular than the rest. But many of them are kind of ignoring the exchange between him and Riot and are looking at you very intently and holding their weapons in their hands, clubs and maces and what have you.
And Riot reiterates their demand.
Yeah. Do they make any other response towards Riot's demand, or?
Riot, what gender of bugbear are you seeming as?
Female. Seem natural to Riot, who doesn't know anything about bugbears at all.
Well, you know that this war chief you're trying to meet is also female.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah,
And he calls out again that the war chief has no interest in you, but that he will personally, and he points to the 3 bugbear seeming men standing next to you, indicating their crotches, and says he will personally deliver 3 delicious trophies.
Yeah, this has gone on long enough. 12 is a convenient number because that's the limit on mass suggestion.
Okay.
So they all get to make DC. Double check.
I wanted to sleep with a bugbear.
You might still get the chance.
I haven't worded the suggestion yet. They have to do it per the letter of the rules. All right, so this is going to be a DC. I believe is it charisma or will?
it's
Wisdom.
Will is nothing.
They get a DC 18 Wisdom save, and I'm just going to yell out in common. I suggest all of you escort us back to your chieftain and don't show any violence to anyone except interlopers along the way.
This is the sound of 12 D20s. And I'm sorry, it was what, 18?
Yeah.
It's the DC? I've got 1 pass and 11 fails, and the pass is the strong one in the front.
All right.
So you give out the order, and there is immediately dissension in the ranks. Is there any more hostility forthcoming? 'Cause if so, we're going to
Yes,
go on
there
initiative.
is.
Okay, roll initiative.
Okay.
Because the second that it's obvious that one of them passed, Mahogany just dives down and knocks him out.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like once again I am responsible for this. Shit.
He can fucking try to hit my score.
Riot, what'd you get?
24.
24.
Roll that good 20 on initiative again.
Kelian.
12.
Liberation.
It's still spinning, sticks.
6. Nath.
Nath X at 20.
20. And Mahogany.
25.
Okay, so the distance between the two groups, because you guys were shouting at each other from across a particular distance. If you were to take a dash action, I would put you just outside of melee range of the group. You guys have been kind of yelling at each other from about maybe 70, 80 feet away or so.
Okay.
What if I had a 90-foot movement range?
Oh, you're not going to have any difficulty getting in, but everybody, I mean, it's not going to matter because you also won initiative. I'm assuming you cheated to get on top of this initiative order?
Oh, I'm a cipher.
Right, okay. So here's what's happening. There's immediately dissent amongst the bugbear ranks as the terms of the suggestion sink in. It's an enchantment spell. So you could ask the creature to stab itself or throw itself onto a spear or immolate itself or do some other obviously harmful act on Acheron, if you were so inclined. But no, what you said was you want them to take them to the war chief without any violence, correct?
Except against interlopers that might get in our way along the way.
And you see several of these bugbears move to start acting on this suggestion. But you see the first one, the one that's been talking to Riot, just anger flash across his face as he turns back and starts barking orders at them. So you've created a lot of dissension in their ranks. And Mahogany, you've got initiative.
Yeah, the one who's barking orders.
Yep.
How does a...
So what's your intent here?
I'm gonna knock him unconscious and then fly back up into the air.
Okay.
A 16 do.
It does not hit.
How about a 17?
17 will do it.
All right, guys, figured it out.
Well done.
Science.
That was my intent the whole time. 10 points of bludgeoning damage. Magical, if it matters.
10 points. It looks like you just pissed him off. I mean, the wind kicks up around him, bludgeons him in the face. Are you then flying away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he gets to take a swing at you,
Yeah, that's fine.
which he will absolutely do.
Hope he enjoys burning up that reflex.
He doesn't get his extra damage because he didn't surprise you.
It's not very surprising.
He only has a 13 to hit.
No.
Not going to do it. So you guys are aware of Mahogany's position in the air and swoops down, batters this thing for a bit, and it takes a wild swing over his head. He's more confused than injured. You've definitely caused him injury, but he's got some decent hit points. That's going to bring us to Riot.
I'm gonna try and use Mahogany's action to cow this guy. I'm gonna shout at him. You see how the very air serves us? Do as your be smart like your comrades and do as we say. Take us to your war chief.
Make a charisma intimidation.
There we go.
You can do this at advantage because you're using Mahogany. You're piggybacking off Mahogany. He's essentially helping you on this.
That's a 25.
25. And he's still whipping around wildly in anger and confusion, but you see your words sink in. And he doesn't drop his weapon. He doesn't lower his weapon, but you can see him visibly shaking. Nath.
And Riot will use her movement to walk up to them.
To walk towards them, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you're not going to be able to approach them with only...
No, I understand. But I'm advancing on them.
Gotcha. Nath, you're up.
Yeah, I'll just move up 30 feet so that I'm in range, and if he tries to attack anyone, I'm just going to frostbite him.
Okay.
But that's a ready to action. That's the end of Nath's turn.
So if the big bear attempts to attack anybody, you're going to frostbite him.
Yeah.
Kelian.
Did the big bear not do anything?
He's standing there shaking.
Gotcha.
How far away is everyone again?
70 or 80
Okay.
feet between you and the bugbears. Nath and Riot have started to approach them.
All right. Kelian shouts, "Let me kill him!" And he's going to dash. He's going to run and use his action to run again.
So dash
Like
towards him.
sprint. Yeah, to be as big as intimidating as possible, to convey the idea that no one's going to stop him in killing the big bear.
Okay.
I'll play along. Oh yeah. I mean, we have 11 here, right? That seem to be compliant.
Bugbears don't know the word compliant. Liberation, you're up.
I have 55 feet of movement. I could burn a key point to get 110 feet of movement.
Okay, you can easily close the full distance if you want. You're a monk.
Yeah.
No
Okay, so
problem.
I'm going to do that. And I'm going to headbutt the guy.
Headbutt him, all right.
I'm going to headbutt you.
I like it.
That's not going to do it. because that's only a 10. How about a... Damn it. You know what? How many belief points I got? Yeah, I'm going to burn a belief point on this.
Okay.
What's your belief?
That is significantly better than the 2s and 3s I was rolling. That's 24.
That's
to
good.
hit. Yeah, so...
Go ahead and roll the damage on the headbutt.
No, this is non-lethal because I just put
Sure.
that...
I don't think you're going to kill him anyway.
Yeah, that's 11 damage. And make a Constitution saving throw. DC is 17.
Which he fails.
He is stunned until my next turn.
Okay.
Oh, surrender.
Riot.
I'm stunned.
Liberation runs in, crashes his head against this thing's head. I mean, the seeming is just visual, right? Like, he's still got these horns coming out of his head.
Oh, yeah.
That he's
yeah.
okay. And the Bugbear is reeling backwards, and you see his weapon topple out of his hand and hit the ground, and immediately the other 11 Bugbears who are under the mass suggestion descend upon him and beat him to death.
Bugbear
Riot.
diplomacy.
Riot nods. Dispose of the weak one. Take me to your leader.
And so you guys spend the rest of the afternoon. Afternoon? I think we need better terminology for planes that don't have weather or days.
A fleam.
A
The
fleam,
constant
right?
peak.
Fleeeem.
I've got 24 hours on the suggestion, should it matter, so...
Oh, you're
There's
gonna
no
be there long
hours,
before
it's
then.
constant day.
There's an excellent Planescape fan article that talks about the dimensionality of planes, how abstractness is a dimensionality on the outer planes, how things get more and less
Oh,
abstract.
that's good. I like that.
And they build magical compasses that can point in very. People got really creative with this setting. Do any of you claim this guy is Great Club?
Liberation does. He's the one that beat the shit out of his face.
Okay. What's
I seem to
Liberation's
remember
actual
two people
strength
beat the
score?
shit out of this guy's face.
Liberation's actual strength score is 15.
It's
Same
15.
as the Bugbear.
Okay, go ahead and make a strength check. Looking to beat a 12.
I do.
Okay.
Nice.
So one of the 11 Bugbears that bring him down moves in to take this, but Liberation's not having any of it. And
Liberation head fakes another headbutt.
yeah, it's essentially just a show of strength. You prove that you are stronger than him, and you claim up this club. Do you walk... Where do you walk as you're marching towards the camp in relation to Riot?
Right hand.
Right next to her at her right hand?
Yeah.
Okay. The Bugbear camp that you guys come up on, it's only very loosely organized. Less than 100 Bugbears strong. And it looks like it's come up very, very recently. They were part of a much larger army that was recently decimated, fell apart without the hobgoblins leading them. And a lot of disarray. Very little food to be had. As you are marching back with this group of 11, you realize that most of what they've scavenged from the battlefield, rather than treasure, loot, weapons, that kind of thing, most of what they've scavenged has been edible food. They're carrying a few sacks between them of discarded moldy bread, meat still on bones, anything that they can eat.
Do they chop
Right.
their companion up for food?
No, because your suggestion was to take them back to the war chief.
Okay.
They probably would have,
Okay.
but
we acted like bugbears.
you acted like bugbears. The wharf chief's tent is a fur pavilion that's been cobbled together. It's clearly not of bugbear make. This is something that she would have scavenged from the larger camp, probably stolen from one of the hobgoblin superiors that is now dead. And just the smell of death is everywhere in this camp. Bugbears take pride in it. And yeah, the 11, they bring you before the war chief. They call you out in their horrible bugbear language. How do you ask them to introduce you?
Oh man.
Because you claimed you're from another world where you don't know the words of Rugek.
Right.
So I'll tell you what, why don't we take because I know we're going to break a little bit early today. Why don't we take a 10-minute break?
Okay.
You guys can all
Okay.
get your coffee, get your bagel, give Riot time to think up a quick story. We'll reconvene at about 4:12.